Reuben?
David, is
Is
that
that you?
you?
Hello?
Are you there? I turn this blasting thing on. David, I can hear him. Where can you hear him, dear?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Coffee Time with my main man, Reuben, today. Reuben, are you all right?
What up? How is it going, everyone? Super excited to be here on Coffee Time. Thank you so much. I've actually just finished a cup of tea, so a bit controversial, but I am very excited to be chatting with you here on Coffee Time. David, thanks so much for having me.
That's okay. Thank you for giving up your time. Are you doing okay? You having a good day? What have you been doing?
Yeah, all good. I'm actually at work at the moment, but I'm having a wonderful time. Quarantine's been excellent. The Lord's been really good to me. Had a wonderful time, and I know that some people have not, and that's really tough. But I've been really lucky, and I've had a wonderful time. But yeah, really great. Thanks for asking.
That's okay. So, I've known you, well, kind of a really long time. Like half known you. Not really known you, like a really long time.
It's like, how old are you? Like
24.
Well, you had your birthday
yesterday. Yeah, 24 yesterday. There you
go. 24. So I've known you for 24 years, really.
Do you remember when I was born?
I don't remember that, mate. But I mean, I would have been. How old would I have been? I'd only been like 1 or 2. So
yeah. Okay.
But no, we've known each other for a very long time, haven't we? So I went to church with you and your family when I was little, and that was for the first 16 years of my life. And then after that, I strayed away a little bit, and then came back when I was 22, and we've been buddies ever since, haven't we?
Yeah, but yeah, I didn't see you for a while, apart from that band night.
Oh my gosh. Oh no, we're not going to talk about this on this podcast.
You were just the guy at band night who used to come to church.
Oh my days. Yeah, it's funny that. I think the thing that we had held in common is that we're like both super competitive. So whenever we played like football or anything like that after church, which is probably the main reason I went to church, was to go and play football afterwards.
Yeah.
I think we both got super competitive, and we've always been like that, and so have my brothers as well.
Yeah.
So I think we held that in common.
Good time. So good. Football on the mugger at Downside. Those are the days.
Oh my days, yeah. Crazy. So long ago.
Reuben Mole throwing himself all over the place.
Nothing's changed if you watch me play football now.
Oh man.
Oh, and the small detail of that I am going out with your sister as well. There's a tiny, little detail, but
you are.
We'll brush over that.
It's the secondary way that we know each other.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
Oh man. So you said that you went to church until you were 16 and you stopped going. Why did you stop going? It'd be cool to hear some of your story. Yeah. What was your thoughts and I guess relationship with church, faith, Jesus growing up?
Yeah, so I think I looked at church as more of a thing that mum and dad took me to. It wasn't something that I had like personal experience of. It was more like a kind of have to go, didn't really enjoy it, didn't really understand it, like not properly. And then when I was presented with the choice of either following things of the world and things that I found were far more interesting, or going to church, which I didn't really enjoy, I mean, at the time it was a no-brainer, and I thought, well, I'm not gonna carry on going to church, and just didn't see how it was relevant for me. And I said to people I believed it, but really my actions did not resemble that at all. So when I was 16, I just kind of sacked it off. But I did come back occasionally for the Easter and Christmas services, so not a total heathen. But I think a lot of people can relate to that, though. It's like, how is this relevant to me? Why should I keep coming back? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know the need for Jesus, and I didn't know the need of fully understanding a worldview. So I was quite naive, and I wasn't very self-aware. But that's why I left the church.
Mm-hmm. And then, so you were sort of away from church, didn't have faith for 5-6 years, do you say?
Yeah, I reckon about that. Yeah.
So
I
what?
mean, the thing is, in my head, it was like I actually thought I did have faith. I was like, I'm just don't practice. I was one of those people. I'm like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
Christian, but I don't practice. I use
Mhm.
that excuse. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, what happened during that time that meant that
It brought
you
me
ended
to
up
Christ.
coming back to faith, to believing in
Yeah,
Jesus?
it's good. But this is a long story, so I'll try and give you a short version.
Okay.
But I think basically I'd aimed to fill my life with different wants and needs that I thought were going to fulfill me and going to fulfill the want in my heart, the need to feel accepted, and the desire to be able to feel whole, if that makes sense. Like completed. When someone says, "Oh, you complete me," to an individual,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I was searching for. I was looking for that feeling of completion, and once that I had found that, I thought, I won't want anything after that. And so I went on a search for this desire, and so that came from my career as a musician. I was desperate to become like famous and stuff like this, and I wanted to be a rock star. That was my dream. And so there was that, but also from relationships and bad decisions with past girlfriends and stuff like that. I was convinced that finding the right girlfriend meant that I would be fully complete, and that would be how I would find that fulfillment. And then if it wasn't in that, it was in money, and having money. And the coping mechanism I used when these things didn't satisfy me was I resorted to drinking and use of drugs and stuff like that, and led me down a very downhill spiral. Now, I'm not going to over exaggerate and say I was some kind of alcoholic or druggie. It's not like what it was, but there was the occasional recreational use of narcotics that I used as a coping mechanism, which is just the point I was making. But yeah, so loads of these things happened, and I was in a relationship for like 3 years, nearly, I think, 3 years, yeah, nearly 4 years, and I thought that this individual was gonna complete me, and once we ticked all the boxes, of life's process. You know how it is. Like, there's so many people that fall into this trap where it's like, once I get a house with this person, I'm gonna be complete. Once I'm married to this person, I'm gonna be complete. Or once I have a baby,
job.
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
yeah. It's like, oh, once I've got loads of money in the bank, or once I'm a touring musician. It's like every single one of these, you're just going through the tick list, and you're like, okay, well, once I've got that, then I'll feel complete. And so what happened in 2017 is that my life like crumbled around me. My ex-girlfriend left me, and there's some other details about that. I could go into all of it and stuff, but she decided that she didn't want to be with me anymore, and my musical career had kind of come to an end because I'd stopped making music and stopped writing music because of like subtle disagreements between me and other band members and stuff like this. And I was like in loads of debt. I think I was like £6,000 of debt, so I had loads of debt problems. And I was actually like, I don't want to like lightly use this term, but I was like like mildly functioning alcoholic. So I would do like, no, actually, I'm gonna say how much alcohol I drank, but it was unhealthy, like very unhealthy. Amounts I drank every night, and it was literally just so I could cope and switch off. And I was a chronic workaholic as well. I loved working, but when this happened, my whole world started to fall around me. And what happens when you place your meaning into arbitrary possessions, feelings, emotions, and then when you place it into people, like that fulfillment just gets bigger. Like as in like the hole in your heart just gets wider, and you are never fulfilled. And so what happened for me is that I placed that into my girlfriend at the time, and when she left me, that hole in my heart just consumed me. And then obviously everything else was going wrong for me at that time as well. It was absolutely awful. I had to move out of my house and move home with my mum, and then once I'd got home and stuff, I was finding it really difficult, because once I'd lived away from home for 4 years, I was finding it really tough, like the transition of going back and living in a bedroom and like living with my mum and my brother. And there's nothing wrong with her. It was just that was me. I love my own space and my own house and whatnot. So I was having a very, very tough time. And so it got to the point in my own life where I thought, well, literally, what's the point? Like, I suddenly had like a sense of real nihilism, where I thought, well, everything's meaningless, isn't it? And I started to have a worldview of what is the point of everything. And so with that kind of mindset, I thought, well, if my meaning is so insignificant and the universe is so vast and my devastation and my upset has such little meaning, why am I even here? Why do I bother? And there was a period of time in my life where I had extremely dark thoughts, and I contemplated suicide quite seriously. I thought about the method and what I was going to do. And often the only reason that stopped me was because I thought about my mother finding me and the upset it would cause her. And that was like part of the only reason that I didn't do it. So when I started radically thinking like this, after a long period of time, I started thinking, well, there must be more than this, because this can't just be it. And so I went on a journey of like research and wanting to learn about the Christian faith, but more so about the world and like worldviews in general. And so because at that time I would have said I was an atheist, and I think in the past I've labeled myself that too keenly, and people got the impression that I was a roaring atheist and I hated God, and I was quite public about it, when that's not the case. I wanted to know God, but I didn't believe in him, I think was the best way I could put it. So anyway, I went on this journey of discovery, and I questioned every single thing I knew. And so looking at the universe and how it was created as an atheist just blew my mind, because the fine tuning of the world, how we're here, the Big Bang argument. And I thought, oh, if I believe in evolution, which I do, then I can't be a Christian. But actually, that's not true at all. In fact, many Christians believe in evolution, but they do believe in a founding creation. But we'll get into that another time. That's a big discussion. And so there's loads of things that blew my mind, and I compared every worldview that I knew together, trying to find sound arguments from non-biased sources. And I kind of didn't want Christianity to be true, because then my mum and dad were right, and that's never good. But I went in very skeptical and happy to, and here's the thing, if I had discovered that the Muslim faith was correct, I'd be a Muslim. I just wanted to know the truth. I wasn't looking for any bias. I wanted to find out what was right. And if atheism was the truth, I would have become an atheist. But when I looked and looked, I realized and found that the evidence pointing towards Christianity was so overwhelming that it was quite hard to deny it. But at this point, I still didn't believe. It was just like so unbelievable. And I remember driving in my car, and I just cried out to God, and I said, I want to believe you, but you're just so unbelievable. I can't logically comply this information. It doesn't make sense to me, and I want to believe so bad. Just help me believe. And I remember praying that, and the Lord opened my eyes, not instantly like some people, but over the period of a couple of months. Because it wasn't like a spontaneous kind of click for me. It was like it took a little while. And I remember on New Year's Day of 2018, I said, after having a horrendous night of lots of bad decisions, I remember saying to the Lord, you know, I'm done with this. I want to know you, and I want to know you for real. Help me see, open my eyes, and if you're here, I wanna know you, and I wanna welcome you into my life.
Mhm.
And I promise I'll serve you if you reveal yourself to me.
Mm.
And he kept his end of the deal, and I have tried to keep mine. And so from that moment on, I continued my research into different worldviews and stuff, and the support and the evidence behind the Christian faith. I still research it now, and it's called apologetics, and it's really, really interesting. And it talks about the biggest questions we have as Christians and why Christianity is true compared to other worldviews. And the Lord has been so gracious to me and so wonderful, and he's completely transformed and turned my life around for the good.
Wow.
Um, and that, that's not the gospel. I didn't choose Jesus because I thought he would bless me. I chose Jesus because it's the truth. And so even if I was in real dire straits now and it was still really bad, the thing I've learned is that all of those things that I learned or tried to fulfill my heart with, like a job, a girlfriend, money, a career, all of those things could never fulfill me. But when I asked Jesus to come into my heart, he filled my heart. And now I can honestly say that that fulfillment is real, and I have it, and it's the most beautiful thing in the entire world.
Yeah. Wow, Reuben, that
Yeah.
is so cool. That's incredible.
Thanks, man.
Obviously, like I know your story, I heard it a couple of times, but it's still
Yeah.
so, yeah, just good and amazing to hear, and
Thanks, man.
kind of
Yeah.
crazy that like it was from like such a low point that you got to kind of being, I guess, where you just sort of like, this feels terrible, but it can't be this bad. What is there out there? I need to find out.
That's
Kind of
absolutely
thing.
right. And
Yeah.
interesting thing, Dave, is when people say, "Oh, how can there be a good God if there's so much suffering?"
Yeah.
And I always think back to that, and I'm like, if I hadn't suffered, I would never have known. And
Wow.
so,
Yeah.
for my own personal story, that suffering for me revealed revelation of who God is, and that was worth it for me. But also this is what my assumption was as an atheist. I said, well, how can there be, a good God if there's so much suffering? But when we make the assumption that there's a bad and an evil as an absolute, we make assumptions that there is a good as an absolute, and you can't make claim to a good or a bad absolute unless you believe in a God. That's just the simple answer of it. You can't. If you're an atheist, there's no such thing as absolutes. So that's, you prove God exists when you argue against it with his strongest case. So, but yeah,
Cool.
that's another podcast. I could bang on about that all day. But yeah.
Oh man. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there
Thanks.
anything else you wanted to know?
Thanks for sharing. think that's enough, certainly,
How
for
long's
me
it been? Have I
to
banged on long enough?
chew on. And
Oh,
no,
good.
it's totally so good to hear your thoughts and what you've got to say. We'll wrap it up, but before we go, a few quick fire questions for you.
Amazing. Yeah, let's do this.
What's your favorite sound? Any
Favorite
sound?
favorite sound. Oh, you put me on the
Yeah.
spot here. Favorite sound is, because I'm a filmmaker, is called deep impact, and it's when you, in movies, when it's like, in the beginning, that big drop, right?
Yeah.
When you hear that, that's it. That's my favorite sound. It's called deep impact.
Cool.
It's
Should I
sick.
put it in here? Should I put it in here now?
I'll send you the web.
Yeah, do it. I'll put it in. It'll be
Yeah.
great. It'll be super good. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We are still in lockdown, social distancing, all of that. Any top tips for, what's your top tip for what to do?
Great tip. All right, this is proper sick. So obviously I haven't been able to see your sister until the other week because of the social distancing rules and regulations. So what we do is we have a date night, and it is so awesome. So we both have laptops, both have FaceTime on, headphones on, watching something at exactly the same time. Couldn't recommend it enough. Like it sounds really lame, but it's so good. Like it just feels like we're both in the room just watching the same thing. It's like, it's really lovely. So that's been a really nice like coping mechanism
That is
for us,
very
and so
cute.
highly recommend that one.
So go and grab a friend,
Oh, watch
watch a
either
movie. Oh,
The Chosen.
oh
Have
my
you seen
days,
that?
yes. Have you been
So
watching The
sick.
Chosen?
Or yeah, I'm
Oh
just
my
like 3
goodness. If
episodes
you've
in.
made it this far through the podcast, please go and watch The Chosen. It's so good.
And support
I
it.
put it on our Instagram a couple of weeks ago. But so good.
Unbelievably good. Unbelievably good. But we've been watching AD Kingdom and Empire, which is on Netflix, and that's all about the life of Jesus. So highly
Cool.
recommend that one. It's a visual gospel.
Hashtag wholesome relationship right there.
Yes, baby. Bit of Bible study as well. You know how it is, boys.
Oh man. That is funny.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for that. Thanks for your top tip. That is the end of coffee time. Hope that you guys watching have an amazing day. I miss you and see you soon. And see you, Reuben.
Yes. God bless you all. Thank you so much for having me on.
Bye.